Hi, you're listening to This Is Not Your Practice Life. I'm your host, Macy Renee, and we are going on a journey together, my friends. I'm a certified life and emotional intelligence coach. And if you really want to step into your highest self, there are a few non-negotiables you're going to have to learn, and I am just the person to help you do it. No matter your past, I'm here to help you create a more fulfilling future. So stick around with me. Not only will I teach you how to navigate your brain's daily mind drama, but I'll help you actually understand your mind, your emotions, why you do the things you do, and why others do the things they do. Most importantly, I'll help you build the self-awareness skills to create whatever results you want. It's never too late to change the trajectory of your life. After all, this is not your practice life. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to another episode of This Is Not Your Practice Life podcast. My name is Macy, and I am so excited to have you with me today. If you are a brand new listener and this is your first time on the podcast, welcome. I hope that you get everything you need and more. I would highly recommend that you go back and start at the beginning because a lot of the episodes build on one another. And I also would say come back and periodically check out new episodes so that you don't miss freebies and opportunities to be coached, especially when it's free, right? That's always so good. So just make sure that if you do go back and start at the beginning, which I think truly is so helpful, make sure you come back every now and then so you don't miss any of the goodies that are happening in real time. And if you are a returning listener, thank you so much for coming back. You know I love and appreciate you. And if you are getting a lot out of the podcast, what I would love to ask is if you have never left a review on Apple or you have never left a review on Google, I would love to ask if you would do that. When you all leave reviews, whether you're new or returning, it helps boost this podcast in the algorithm. It helps more people find it, and it allows me to move up in the ranks, which is always a great thing because that means more people are able to get the help that they need when they're able to find me. So if you've never left a review, I would absolutely love if you would do that via Apple Podcast or on Google, which you can find the links in the show notes to do that. Okay. Let's talk about another requested topic that someone sent me in my DMs. And you all are also always welcome to do that. If you have a topic that you feel I have not covered on the podcast and you want to know about it, always feel open to DMing me. I love it. We're going to talk about shadow work today. I feel like maybe I have touched a little bit on shadow work, but maybe not as in-depth, or at least to the point where I wouldn't have been asked to do this episode if there was a very clear, distinct episode on it. So I want to talk about it today. And the first thing that I will say about shadow work is that a lot of times you will hear this term especially in the spiritual coaching kind of community, which I love a little bit of woo-woo, I have to admit. And for those of you that may not know, I've dabbled in a little bit of everything, meaning that I went to school to become an occupational therapist, and I did pediatric occupational therapy for 6 years. And when I graduated, I knew that I wasn't going to be a pediatric occupational therapist forever. It just didn't feel in my spirit like the thing that I was going to do for the rest of my life. But it did feel like a bridge, and it did feel like a very important stepping stone in my journey, and it very much was. I don't regret ever going to school for it. I don't regret the money and the student loans to get there. I met the most amazing people that were a part of my journey in some of the most pivotal, critical times in my life. And some of those people are now in my world being coached by me. And so I don't regret anything, as far as that goes ever. But when I got out of school, I knew that there was more. And the way that I would describe it, and I even see this pop up on my Facebook memories from time to time, is I wanted to be the one-stop shop for people's healing and help. And what I meant back then is I wanted to further my education and be very well-rounded in my training outside of occupational therapy, so that when people came to me, no matter what they needed, I had tools in my toolbox. So that's what I mean by dabbling. And what I did, so I was trained in Reiki energy healing while I was in occupational therapy school. And then I got additional training when I got outside of occupational therapy school, because I wanted to have all 4 certification levels. They call it attunements in Reiki. And so I went all of the way to Reiki master teacher level. And in 2018/2019, my sister and I actually went to massage school together. There for a while, I looked into things like Ayurvedic, it's really hard for me to pronounce, medicine and things like that. And I never went through with it. But my whole point in saying this is that I really look at humans through a whole body approach. It's not just one thing that we are made up of. We're made up of many different things. And I think it's important to be open to that to some level and to some degree. And so when I started my coaching journey, I did a lot of mindset work in the beginning. As a client, I was mindset coached a ton. And then from there, when my coach couldn't really go further than that with me, I needed more of the emotional intelligence kind of coaching, emotional coaching, spiritual coaching. And so my journey then led to coaches that were more like energy healers, massage workers, things like that. And that was super helpful to me as well. And I, was able to even use some of my own trainings and things like that in those situations. And so I say all of this to say that shadow work, if you've never heard of it, really is used a lot in kind of more of the spiritual coach community. Now, the thing about shadow work is it really is similar to a training that I have done. It's actually the free training that you can sign up for on social media. I think there's even a link to do it from my website on MacyRenee.com, but I have a training called Cope Better. And Cope Better talks about the differences between like our inner child and how she shows up or he shows up, our inner teenager and how he or she shows up, and then our emotionally intelligent adult. And what I want to describe here is that shadow work is very similar to that inner teen. So we have essentially this piece of us that really comes out to protect us. When you want to grow and evolve, a huge piece of your growth and evolution is self-awareness. If you're not aware of why you think the way you think, why you feel the way you feel, why you behave or act the way that you act, you're really missing out on an integral piece of your healing journey. And when we go to do our healing journey, or when we make the effort to start seeing things differently and to understand ourselves, we have this version inside of us. I like to refer to it as the inner teen, and the part of us where our ego kind of wants to come in and go, oh, no. Like, don't explore too deeply. Don't change things. Things are working pretty well, even if they're not working at all. There is this very protective inner version of us subconsciously that's like, I'm really afraid of what you're going to see. I'm really afraid of what you're going to uncover. I'm really afraid of what work we're about to do. I'm really afraid of feelings. I don't want to feel hard feelings, okay? And so in the spiritual community, this is kind of what shadow work is, okay? Shadow work is more of getting to know that inner version of us that has tucked a lot away. And so in my Cope Better training, I refer the action of what we're doing as shoving all of our stuff into a locker and never looking at it again. And that's really what we're doing when we're doing shadow work, right? Or we're doing the inner child, inner teen, emotionally intelligent adult work, as I like to refer to it, is we are actively choosing to pull things out of that metaphorical locker. We are choosing to pull things out that we can look at to understand ourselves on a deeper level and to heal the things that we have been holding on to for a while. So whether you refer to this as shadow work, or you refer to it as healing work, or you refer to it as your inner child, inner teen work. There's also a podcast called The Adult Chair by Michelle Chalfant. I think I've shared her before here on the podcast, and some of my clients listen to her. However you want to refer to it, it really comes down to looking within, looking into yourself and understanding why you do the things that you do. And previously on the podcast, I went into a newer, updated version of manuals. And I like to think too, when we're doing shadow work or we're working on that inner teen, she oftentimes is in charge of a lot of our manuals, because manuals help keep the brain feeling really, really safe. It's kind of like when you've written a book and you're reading a book over and over and over again. It's predictable. It's like what's going to happen. It's the most cozy thing ever. It's kind of like watching a movie you love over and over and over again. You know what to expect. And when you do shadow work, it's kind of like saying, hey, let's go back and read this book, but we're going to highlight some things and we're going to make some changes. And that inner teen in us, that inner version of us that so badly wants things to be predictable and stay the same merely for comfort, starts to freak out a little bit. So shadow work is very much this intentional act of how you are going to go inward and work on yourself, what things you're going to heal, what things you're going to become aware of that are going to actually help you continue to grow. And I just want to preface by saying a lot of times it can be very painful. It feels painful because it's kind of like a death of self. You have this version of yourself that you've been for a really long time, whether you love it or you don't, whether there are pieces of your life that are working really well for you or pieces of your life that are not. And whatever pieces you decide to change that you're not necessarily thrilled with and you know that they can be better, you may logically know that changing is the best thing for you and working on it is the best thing for you. But it doesn't excuse the fact that as you let versions of yourself go, as you change things that were written in a book that felt like they were going to be in there forever, when you start tearing out pages or marking things out or highlighting things and writing things over old, programming, it's going to feel painful because it's new and unfamiliar. And so what a lot of my clients experience is the journey feeling sometimes isolating and lonely, which is also why I have, programs designed the way that I do so that the women can really get to know each other on a deeper level. And why recently I've now added a yearly retreat into what I offer, because doing this work is one of the most powerful things that you can do. I have yet to meet anyone who regrets working on themselves, right? A fundamental human need is that we are growing and evolving, and something that makes relationships in our life feel very hard, whether it is romantic or friendship or, coworkers or acquaintances or whatever. Things that make it feel really hard are when some people fight so hard to stay the same. They repeat cycles and they stay stagnant. And for the version of us that is growing, that eventually gets to be really hard, because you have to choose if you kind of stay in the past where other people are operating from their comfort zone, or if you continue to grow and again, you leave versions of yourself behind. And that might mean that some of your relationships shift a little bit or change a little bit or look a little bit different. And so that being said, what your system and soul will crave are people that are on a similar wavelength as you. They don't have to be the same as you. They don't have to be doing the exact same work as you, but you want to be around people who understand. That's a fundamental thing, right? Because connection is so important for us. We're very tribal as humans. We want groups of people. And so my hope is that whether you are in programs that I have or you come, to the yearly retreat, that you allow yourself that permission to build connections that are only going to help you continue to grow forward the way that you desire to grow forward, or to continue to move forward or grow in your life. But shadow work is definitely an important thing. And if you Google shadow work, you will see, different ways that you can do this. I'm sure there are YouTube videos as well, more on the spiritual community side of what shadow work looks like and how you can incorporate it into your life. I would say in my world, in my community, it's a little bit more of a mindset, emotional intelligence, energetic approach. Like I try to blend multiple things and try to teach it in a multitude of ways because every single person may understand it a little bit different. But this was a topic that was requested by someone in my audience, and I wanted to make sure that I addressed it. So overall, shadow work is you going inward and you really understanding more of yourself, more of your thought process, more of your emotions, more of what maybe you've shoved down your entire life that you haven't wanted to look at, more of why you act or behave the way that you act or behave, why you get activated or triggered by certain things. And it's really pulling that to the surface and healing it, okay? So we don't hate our shadow. We love our shadow. Just like I tell my clients, we don't hate our inner teen or our inner child. We love our inner teen and inner child. But oftentimes what it takes in order to really heal is to be doing the work of the emotionally intelligent adult. And for a lot of us, we've been so afraid of that work because of sometimes what we have to let go of in order to grow into our next level. So if you need any help with any of this, if this is something that you're interested in doing, highly recommend that you reach out. You can go on MacyRenee.com and sign up for a 60-minute consult whenever you would like and start your coaching journey. We will get on the phone. We'll talk about where you're at in your life, what's working, what's not working, what you think needs to happen in order for your life to change. And if it feels good to move forward, if you are vibing with me, if I'm vibing with you and it feels like a good match, we will talk about different options where we can work together. And if it doesn't, and you need a referral and you need to find someone else that feels like a better fit, I'm also happy to help you find that other person. I have a large network. I'm happy to refer out. If it doesn't feel right, you just have to be open and let me know. All right. My ultimate goal is that anybody that comes into my community is getting the help and love and support that they need. And if that's with me, I take that so seriously and I will grab your hand and we will soar to the moon. But if for some reason I'm not your person, then I will try my best to help you find your person so that you can do this work. Because at the end of the day, that's what's really important to me, is that people are able to work on their self-awareness, they're able to work on their emotional resilience, they're able to work on their mind, and they're able to create the life that they want for themselves. So whatever voice you need, tone you need, a support you need, I will do my best to help you find it, okay? All right, I will talk to you guys next week. Bye. Hey there. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of This Is Not Your Practice Life podcast. If you'd like to connect on social media, you can find me on both Instagram and Facebook at Macy Renee Coaching. And if you want to stay up to date on all of my offers, announcements, and inspirational emails, you can join my email list at MacyRenee.com. In addition, if there's a way that I can further support you in your coaching journey, you can schedule a free 60-minute consult at MacyRenee.com anytime you want so we can discuss the best options for you. I look forward to seeing you next week, and I hope you have an amazing day. Bye.